Okay, I've thought about doing this for about 2 years. I'd lie awake at night and think about what I would say, and it's probably going to be, that version will probably be a lot better than what this video will actually come out to. But this is going to be about my life. All right, here we go. 5730 Fearing Street. That's where I grew up until I was 19. It looked a lot better than this. My mom put a lot of hard work into this house. Can you see that? Okay, that gate right there? Well, that's not the original gate. But on the original gate, when I was really young, I spray painted KISS in orange fluorescent spray paint. Mom was not happy. I also did it on the side of that chimney right there. Again, Mom was not happy. And in the wall, that piece of wall right there, right above the gate, I had several goldfish. They all died, of course, and a betta fish died, of course, too. And I put all their little corpses in there. So there's probably some fish skeletons in there. So we used to have a basketball hoop there. Let's see, what else? Okay, my room would fluctuate. I'd get different rooms in the house. And this was a major event. That house was, in that house was the first time I had sex. And it was a very, very beautiful girl. And she may be still watching this because we still talk. I always smile when I look back at that because it was just an amazing day. I remember it was summer and I had dropped out of school. Stupid thing to do, but I did go back and get my diploma. Anyway, and so I had the front bedroom and there was a little tapping on the window. And it was this beautiful girl that I mentioned, and I had no idea. I mean, I thought not even in my league, you know. But I had the house for myself, and one thing led to another. All of a sudden, she's taking her clothes off in front of me, and I'm like, yeah, probably just like that. Anyway, that was a good day. I also set the bathroom floor on fire when I was a little kid. I had a thing for fire. And it was that linoleum tile type of floor, and we had matches in the bathroom for, you know, you make a stinky, you light a match. Well, I lit the match and dropped it on the floor. Well, the linoleum started turning really cool colors, like these really awesome blues and orange, and I watched it for a few seconds. Then I realized the floor's on fire. So smoke, I'm trying to put it out, and smoke is going under the door. Mom's knocking on the door. Brian, what are you doing in there? I try to get like Clorox from underneath the sink and put it on there and clean it like it's gonna come off. Didn't work. Again, Mom was not happy. Right there in the front, right there used to be a tree there. And one Christmas, I got this action figure guy with a parachute.
Fisher Price presents
The Adventure People.
Toys for your older kids. There's the Northwoods Trailblazer, ready for his adventures. Or the Daredevil Skydiver, to go as high as a child can toss him.
And I've been wanting this thing for a long time, so Christmas finally shows up. I get it, I launch it up there, it gets stuck in the top of the tree. It stayed there for, I'd say, at least 10 years before it finally rotted and dropped down from the tree. So my house, to the left of the house, we have, I'm not sure who still lives here or not, but this was the Weber's house. And Webbers were very nice. The husband was a really funny guy, and they had 2 sons, Peter and Paul. I guess they were waiting to have a daughter named Mary. But anyway, Peter and Paul and a couple of the other kids in the neighborhood, they were older, and they formed their own little band and would do Kiss songs in the garage. And they would also put on little shows at the side of the backyard for us younger kids, charge us like a nickel or a quarter, and reenact commercials and make them really silly. Like the Life cereal commercial with Mikey. That was really, it was cool. As many of you know, I'm into urban exploration a lot. And what I would do is, on trash day, let me get in the shade here, I'd get up kind of early, and I'd go down from one side of the street down to the other and go through people's trash and find cool stuff. Well, I thought it was cool. Found a lot. That's how I decorated my room with some Kiss posters. And I was amazed because, I was a little kid at the time. What did I know? People were throwing out TVs and lamps. And I'm thinking, wow, look at this cool stuff I found. And it's all just worthless stuff. But when you're a kid, well, for me, it was like treasure hunting. Okay, this house to the right of where I lived, Mr. and Mrs. Hines lived here. They were an older couple. I gotta go back in the shade. If I haven't mentioned, it's like 112 today. And Mrs. Hines was very nice. She was an artist. She was a painter. And sorry about the wind. But when I was young, my parents got divorced, and I would see my dad on the weekends. And I was kind of a I don't know, emotional kid. And still am. And we had a dog named Charcoal. So I'd be in the backyard, and I'd throw the tennis ball for Charcoal. It would go over the fence. The first couple, and then I'd have to go next door and get the ball, right? Well, Mrs. Hines would invite me in, and she had a little garden in the backyard that had strawberries. And she'd let me stay with her, and I'd talk to her, and she'd give me strawberries and sugar to dip them in. Very nice lady. So I started throwing the ball over the fence so I could go to Mrs. Hines' house a lot. See the sewer hole? I used to tie a piece of string with like a Christmas ornament hook on it, and I'd put it down in the little sewer hole thing and pull stuff. I know, it's gross. I didn't think about it at the time, but I thought I was going to pull up something, some kind of lost treasure or something, but ew. Okay, this lamppost. When we were kids, this would be the meeting place, like in the evening when the sun went down. And we would hang out on this lamppost and out on this corner. And we'd just talk and hang out. It was cool. And on the street, we used to play a lot of like kickball and things like that. Okay, this house. I'm going to change the names on some of these. Okay, I'll call that the Rickenbacker's house. There's 3 boys that lived there, Mike, Donnie, and Jeff. And we were all friends. And let's see, for most of my life, we were, or my growing up, I lost my train of thought. But we used to go up into the hills hiking and with our, okay, I'll call that the Rickenbacker's house. There's 3 boys that lived there, Mike, Donnie, and Jeff. And we were all friends. And let's see, for most of my life, we were, or my growing up, I lost my train of thought. But we used to go up into the hills hiking and with our backpacks and some jelly sandwiches or something. And before that, we'd get, find some bottles to recycle, and you could take them up to Rite Aid, which it was Thrifty's at the, no, I'm sorry, you took them to Vons, and you could turn them in there and get a little money for them, and we would buy like the generic soda, Vons sodas, like the root beer, and my favorite was the grape. And it was an awesome day. We'd spend all day up in the mountains and the hills and hiking, and there was stuff to check out, so that was very cool. And they were kind of the first ones they got the first ones in the neighborhood that got an Atari and a swimming pool. Now, this changes the dynamic, that changes dynamics a lot severely, because all of a sudden, even though we were friends before, you start hearing things like, you just want to be friends because I have an Atari and a swimming pool. No. Also, the Rickenbacker boys, their house was where I saw my first Playboy. The dad was a subscriber, and one time we were, I was over there, and all of a sudden the parents said, "Oh, we're gonna go out for a little bit, you kids behave." Okay, and as soon as I got in the car and went down the driveway, the oldest boy is watching the car go away, and he goes, "Hey Brian, you want to see something?" "Yeah." And so it pulls out the Playboy. It was in the closet under on the shelf, and of course there was like McCall's magazine on top of that, and I don't know, Good Housekeeping or something. So I saw my first Playboy and my first, picture of a nude woman, and I liked it very much. I wasn't exactly sure why I did, but I did. Still do. Next up, we have Oliver's house. Okay, Oliver lived with his mom. They were both German, spoke, very, very good English. And it was cool because I got to, we were both kind of Oliver and I were kind of the outsiders of the neighborhood because our parents were divorced. You would think that, during the 70s that by that time, people would be used to that thing. But no, maybe it's because it was first in the neighborhood. They just, I don't know, treated us a little bit different. Anyway, Oliver was a cool kid. And, that reminds me, Oliver got hit by a car here. And before that, as kids, what we used to do is ride our bikes and jump off the curbs. I got hit by a car right in front of the Rankenberger's house, but it was on someone else's bike. They weren't happy. I'll call this Catherine's house. It's not much to say about this house, except the people who lived there, they were Greek, and it was a family, mom, dad, and Catherine, and I think she had a brother. Thing is, Catherine was drop dead gorgeous. I just don't know how to put it, but she was drop dead gorgeous, and her dad was very protective of her, and I got to know her a little bit. Her dad wouldn't let the neighborhood boys talk to her. Well, except for me after time. Eventually he'd say, "Brian, you seem like a good boy. I'll let you talk to my daughter, Catherine. You be a good boy, Brian." Okay. And what I remember is Catherine had this beautiful curly long hair and a beach cruiser bike. And this gap in between her front teeth. She was just beautiful. I mean, that's what I remember about that house. But we were growing up at our house. This was before cable TV. So we had these things called antennas attached to our chimneys. And if it got too windy, it would blow the antenna out of whack and move it. So you had to get on the roof, get up there, finagle with it, while someone downstairs is going, "Okay, it looks good there." And the person on the roof goes, "Is it better? Yes, it's better." So, yep. When I was 18, my mom was getting new carpet, and I believe we were repainting the inside. And so we had all the furniture moved out or put in the back bedrooms. So for my 18th birthday, surprisingly, and I know it took a lot for her to let me do this, but I got to have a party, have people over, and no parents or anything like that. It was a full-blown party. And you know who played at my party? What band? The legendary punk band Fatal Error played in my living room on my 18th birthday. Thank you, Mom. And yes, the cops showed up a few times.